thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you being here. You're about to watch NLL Lacrosse Talk. I'm Candid Stanisci. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. As usual, Gary Groob is our co-host here, and we have a very special guest today in Warren Hill of the Halifax Thunderbirds and the Six Nation Chiefs. Warren, thank you for coming to the program.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Well, we always ask, because we think it's important, what got you into lacrosse? Why'd you pick up a stick?
Truthfully, I don't think I had a choice. Being from Six Nations, as like everyone says, like you, that's our game down here. You don't really have a choice, and fortunate enough too, I have a pretty good lacrosse family. Uncles that played in the NLL, grandfathers in the Hall of Fame. So right from the womb, I don't think I had a choice. Me and my brother and I had no choice but to play lacrosse. So it's been our first love since forever.
Well, I get it that it was your first love, but tell me what keeps you interested in the game? What attracts you to come back?
I think it's, I don't know how to describe it, but I think just like, again, kind of being a dead horse, but to us as Native people, it's just something who we are. It's part of our culture. And I think that's something that kind of take to heart. And that's all I ever wanted to do. Like I said, some communities, football is their thing. Maybe it's basketball here in Canada, hockey, but Six Nations, it's lacrosse. And it's something that I've always wanted to do and want to keep doing for as long as I can.
All right. So then if we drew some blood out of your body, there'd be some blood.
Probably should be some hickory in there.
A couple of lacrosse balls and
a
lacrosse stick. Yeah. No, I get it, and I'm glad you're here. And being of the First Nations, we've talked about that a lot. We've talked about it. This game is important to Native people. Tell me a little bit about how it's been your adventure from the time you started playing till now. Some of the stuff you've learned that have helped you to understand maybe what it is like to be a Native Canadian.
I think I think I learned a lot from the sport. Like, it's hard for me to kind of draw back from, but there's a lot of peaks and valleys from the game. Like, obviously, you learn how to win, you learn how to lose, you learn about teamwork, you learn a little bit about resilience, discipline, stuff like that comes with the game. But also just, I think, again, being a Native person from Canada, like, obviously we're not isolated per se, in the sense of we don't, like, we got other communities around us, but growing up, going to school here, all I see is Native kids playing lacrosse, Native kids, right? Until you get older, and that's where you start to learn about other cultures, other backgrounds. You only know what you know, right? So I think a big part of that, a learning curve for me, was going to the Hill Academy with Brody Mira and all them. I was fortunate enough to get recruited by Merrick Thompson, go over there, learn to live on my own. Like, we were just in Vaughan, Toronto, but to me, that's the big city, coming from where I'm from. So learning how to live on your own, getting to know and meet guys that you played against your whole life from Whitby, from St. Catharines, stuff like that, right? So learning that we have a lot of similarities, but also we have some cultural differences, and it's cool to learn that way.
A lot of bridging of the gap, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, all those guys you grew up kind of hating, and like, oh, this guy's actually kind of cool. Yeah.
Now, you're talking about growing up on the res. Let's talk about life in general. Now, you grew up, you're Mohawk, right?
Yeah.
And all the different tribes and this and that. Is there a difference in the games? I know Choctaw is a lot different with the two sticks, but generally speaking.
Generally speaking, that's about it. Like, Akwesasne, Ganawage, Allegheny, Newtown, Onondaga, those communities like that, like, it's all pretty similar. We all play the same sport, but like you said, like, going down south or out west to Choctaw, and I've never had the pleasure of participating. I'd love to. I've seen it before, but that's the only difference that I see, was the one that they play out that way with the two sticks.
Right. Now, how did you get started as a goalie?
I got started as a goalie. I have two versions of the story. One from my mom said that our team didn't have a goalie, offered to go in net. She had to buy the pads and said they were so expensive that I had to keep playing in them until I grew out of them. She wouldn't let me get out because they were so expensive. That's my mom's version. And my coach version is actually Randy Stotts' father, Marty. He was our coach, and he said, quite bluntly, he said, "You weren't making our team because you couldn't run, so we stuck you in net." So, whatever it's worth, I ended up falling in love with the position and stuck with it.
Right. Now, when you eventually went into playing field, because of course everybody's playing box out here, was there a huge adjustment, or was it just keep playing box style just without any padding?
No, heck, no. It was a huge culture shock. I think by now I've been playing box goalie for about 3 or 4 years. And just like you said, we all play box out here. When I came in field lacrosse, which we all kind of pick up late when we're like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, right? We started playing field lacrosse in Pee Wee, and I asked my uncle, Cam Bomberry, he was our coach, fortunate, and he had experience playing college field lacrosse at Nazareth. And I asked him, like, I know it's a 6x6 net. Like, what do we wear for goalies? Because I just assumed, again, they're just throwing me a net. And he said, "Oh, just a chest protector, helmet, gloves." So that's what I showed up to practice with. And I think I took a warm-up shot just off the shin, and I said, heck with that. And I went and next practice, I came back with not necessarily my box gear, but I had my hockey shin pads on, hockey pants on, elbow pads, stuff like that. And just as the years progressed, got more comfortable in learning the game, start shedding more and more gear off till now I just play with the helmet, gloves, chest protector, stuff like that. But it was definitely a learning experience because, yeah, I wasn't trying to catch the ball like you're supposed to. I just knew what I knew, and I was trying to stop it with my shoulders, elbows, legs, whatever I could. So that's why I padded up.
So getting bruised up real nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you come a long way, because I remember in San Diego last June and watching you, and I was lucky enough to be sideline reporter. So I got a chance really to be right there on the field, and watching you and your stick skills have come a long way, because you were making some fantastic saves. I think the one game that stood out to me was the England game, and one guy took a shot, and you made a great save, and you just looked at him and started laughing, and it was just yeah, that just exudes confidence in my eyes.
I remember that. I don't think I was laughing that I wasn't laughing as a chirp. I was laughing because I couldn't see it. And I was like, oh, holy heck, I couldn't believe I caught that. He might have took it the wrong way, but I don't take myself too seriously or the game too seriously when we're in there. So that's just something that I do. But yeah, that's the reason for the laugh. And no, that's something, again, like having to learn pretty quick that if you don't want to get hit with the ball, you better stop it with your stick in the field game. Yep. So had a lot of practice with that, and then fortunate enough to have a wall behind our house where my dad basically took off the siding, and because he was sick of getting holes in his siding, so he took it off, and it was just nothing but plywood, and we spray paint some targets, my brother and I, and that's where we spent our youth, behind the net, throwing music on, just bored, go out there and hit the wall.
Right. Who helped you learn the different styles? Because I know you did a lot of it on your own and just through trial and error, but who was your mentor?
I had a lot of good coaching growing up, so I have to give a lot of credit, like, as I got older, to different stages of my career, so to speak. So I think first and foremost, again, like Marty Stotts, a guy like that for the box game, and my Uncle Cammy for teaching me the basics. As I get a little older, say junior high, beginning of high school, Jason Johnson. He's a guy, again, who is fortunate enough to be my coach for field lacrosse and for box lacrosse, and knowing some of the stuff that he knows, giving me some tips and training me that way. And then I really progressed going to the Hill Academy with Merrick Thompson, Brody Miro for the field lacrosse game. And then was fortunate enough to have a goalie coach in junior lacrosse with Ken Montour Monster, who's our goalie coach with the Arrows. And so I've had the pleasure of having some mentors like that, but a lot of it was on my own. Again, growing up here, internet was hard to come by way back when. We're fortunate enough now that it's everywhere, but when I grew up, it was a luxury, right? And truthfully, I don't know how we got it, but we got States channels for colleges way back when you could buy those sticks or whatever, those satellite cards. And I remember every Saturday morning being glued to the TV watching college lacrosse games from 10 a.m. till 7 o'clock at night, watching college field lacrosse in the spring, and then going to catch a NLL game, maybe it's on TV, or going to the GPA to go watch the Arrows or Chiefs play. So a lot of it was watching.
Right. What's your favorite part of being a goalie?
My favorite part, I think, is just the having that impact on the game and the little battles. I think that we're tasked with having to battle, like again, a game within the game. So every shot's a little bit of a battle, and sometimes you lose, and that's something about it. And that feeling of having your play just has such an impact, right? That's something that I take a lot of pride in.
Right. Now, you've mentioned the Hill a few times. We've had a number of guys on who went to the Hill at one point or another. We've had a couple of guys who's coached there. Talk about your experience there and the program itself and how that helped develop you.
I loved it, and it made me grow up really quick, and I think that was good. I didn't go for my all 4 years of high school. I went there as a post grad, so basically grade 13. But it made me grow up quick. Again, it was only a couple hours down the road, but to me it could have been a whole another country, another whatever, right? And I was fortunate enough to come home on weekends, but the first couple months honestly felt like quitting, and it was tough. Never had that style of coaching before. Like, not to say they were hard on us, but there was discipline, there was structure, something that I wasn't used to. But as the time went along, start to get um, some good coaching in the sense of both on field, off the field. Had a lot of good encouragement from Eric Thompson, and just guys showing me the way and showing me like, hey, this is what it's going to be like if you want to go off to school and go on to college, right? Go play college lacrosse. So learned how to grow up quick, and I think that was a good experience. And plus, practicing every day really helped develop my game.
Right. Now, they worked a lot there about helping you get recruited. How did they help you get noticed by, I guess it was Nazareth and also then Onondaga and Syracuse? And so how did you originally get you noticed?
Originally, I had some like coming out of high school, but nothing too serious because my grades weren't there. But I think the biggest part was them um, academically pushing me and then showing me that I could do it, and then also presenting to different colleges like, hey, like, for lack of a better term, he's not a dummy. Like, he can do the coursework, but also talking and vouching for me from two different coaches and getting my name out there through film. So they're great at that. And I remember at one point, some people that I live with in my house were trying to send video and emails to different coaches, and they had to tell us like, don't do that. Like, we got you covered, and just be patient. And sure enough, come springtime, you got 5 or 6, 10, however many schools at least sending you an email and wanted to talk to you. So they helped me out that way. And I think when you got guys like Merrick Thompson, Brody Merrill vouching for you, I think a lot of coaches take their word for it. So that was really cool, and that was good on them because they didn't have to do that, but they did.
Right. Now, you end up going to Onondaga for a couple of years. 35-0 record, back-to-back junior college national championships, two-time NJCAA All-American and NJCAA Mid-State Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year. You made your mark, to say the least. Those years were great formative years, I would say, and probably was the ones that probably convinced you that this is where you wanted to go in direction, the aha moment, so to speak.
Exactly. And I think, again, just baby steps. I would have loved to have gone straight to a 4-year school, absolutely. But I think these baby steps and getting my feet wet were great for me. Again, being at OCC, smaller school, smaller classrooms, coaches were like Chuck Wilbur, Chris Brim, Coach Gatto, all those guys. Like, hats off to them. I know I'm missing a few others. I know there was brother defensive coaches that were awesome, and they're gonna chirp me because I forget their names. But those guys were awesome. It's been years, right? So, but
Right.
no, it was like a little family, and they took care of us, and both in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and then instilling that work ethic, going to the gym and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun, and it didn't hurt that I had 5, 6 of my best friends that came with me from Six Nations or Akwesasne, and again, it was like high school again, but bigger. And again, baby steps, working towards the ultimate goal. So that was really beneficial for me.
Well, you made the move to Syracuse. How did that come about? Because that's not really an everyday thing that all of a sudden, bang, you're into with the Orangemen. You made the most of the opportunity as well with a 10.25 goals against average in 16 games. But how did that come about? You're in Onondaga, and all of a sudden Syracuse comes knocking.
Truthfully, it was a tough decision. I had previously verbally committed to another school, Marquette University in Wisconsin, visited them, and then Syracuse came knocking, and both were great programs, both like the coaches, stuff like that. But it came down to had some family stuff come up, truthfully, and I want to be closer to home and have the opportunity if that my parents, grandparents, family members could come drive and see me play. And that was something that I'm big on is family. So that made a tough decision a little easier. So that's where that came from. And obviously, when Syracuse calls, that's not one number you ignore, right? So
Right.
heard them out and was fortunate enough to have a decent scholarship opportunity, and that took the weight off my parents, obviously, financially. So it again made a tough decision a little bit easier.
Right. I want to go back to box with you, and of course you went up through the Six Nations program, Junior B with the Rivermen. In all 3 years, you were most valuable goaltender, or co-winner of most valuable goaltender. Again, making your mark, being noticed.
I think again, like back then, like coming out of junior, with the Rivermen, that was senior B, and with the Chiefs, the roles for goalies was already filled. You had legends in there like Evan Kirk, was it Brandon Miller, then you had Dylan Ward. So I know that was tough sledding, but the Rivermen gave me an opportunity to play right away, and also our current assistant coach, Stu Montour, who's the junior A Arrows coach now. He
Right.
was my coach through those years, and he was a good mentor, and I learned a lot from him. And he gave me the opportunity to start and kind of learn my way. It was my first time playing with men, and he gave me the opportunity to figure it out. And times where he did have to reel me in, so to speak. Maybe I was getting too emotional, or maybe I just, we call it butt lips, but basically like just being pee pants, right? Or something's not going your way, and then I want to blame the world. But
Right.
he's the one that made me mature and take responsibility.
It's funny. We had Marshall Palace on a few weeks back, and he was talking about the same thing about the stepping forward and playing, instead of playing with youth, playing with men, and getting used to that
Yes,
idea, and that the speed and the size and all the other things that you weren't used to. So yeah, no, I
exactly.
understand what you're saying. And you did Junior A with the Arrows,
Yep.
11 and 12. And your final season there, you won the Robert Melville Award, lowest goals against average in Junior A. Again, getting ready for the next step.
hmm Yeah, and that was a great summer. Unfortunately, we got beat out in the 7-game series against Whitby, and that was a great Whitby team. It was a grind. It was a great playoff series. I wish there was. I don't think I'd watch it, but maybe one day I'll be able to watch it. I don't think I could watch it now, but
Right.
no, it was good, and it was a good learning experience. And a lot of the guys that played on those teams back then are currently in the NLL. Again, like you have Whitby with, you had like Alex Bouquet, you had Austin Shanks, Riley O'Connor, Chad Tutton. The list can go on, and then you got St. Catharines, you had Tyson Bell, Eric Fennell. Um, Orangeville, you had the Nobles like playing. So like there was a plethora of talent way back when in that junior A, and I think that helped me get ready for the next level because obviously we all had the same goal in mind. So every night was a battle back then, and I miss it.
Right. And just after that, you wind up with the Iroquois team. And I want to talk about that because with a much smaller pool to draw from players, you guys always had a fantastic team. A couple of bronze medals, 2014, 2018 in field, a silver in 2015 in box. Let's talk about, just the idea there of when we had Darius Kilgore on a number of months or years ago. He was talking about the biggest thing is because we use just one tribe. Now we use the Haudenosaunee name, and it seems to be more of a
Yeah,
all-inclusive idea that
yeah,
everybody
exactly,
feels right.
exactly. And then like again, like before it was just under the Iroquois banner, and it was just you had to be one of the Six Nations. But now Haudenosaunee, being really like our First Nations team that we're able to pull from other First Nations communities that do have great lacrosse players, guys like Kyle Jackson. I believe he's out of potentially out of Walpole. We had Jordan Durst in Walpole. You had guys like Thomas Holgarth out of up north. Anyways, I forget what his
Yeah, because he's near
community.
Peterborough, where you came from too.
Yeah, yep. And then we had I think a few years ago we had Goodwin, Brandon Goodwin, and Tyler Garrison. I think that might have been his name, but they were from out west, right?
Right.
And then we were fortunate enough to grab Eli McLaughlin this past summer, who is also from out west. So those guys were a big help, and um, again, just that inclusiveness that hey, this is what that team's for, to give us a platform as First Nations people and to put the best foot forward and the best team that compete out there, and we're all playing for the same purpose and for the same people. To us, we're all one, right? So doesn't matter where we're from, we're all one. So it was a really cool experience.
Now, of course, I'd be neglected if I didn't talk about the stupidity with passports and all the other nonsense that goes on. Does it help now when it's under the Haudenosaunee banner, do you think, as opposed to being under Iroquois, that maybe it'll be recognized? It should be recognized. You are a sovereign nation.
Yeah.
But, just to stop all the ridiculousness that somebody has to give up their spot so you can get recognized, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's definitely been a head scratcher and beating our head against the wall, right, for many years. And I remember actually on our way to Finland, we got stopped in Switzerland, I think, and we had to deboard, and we were in a Switzerland airport for like 10 hours, 8 or 10 hours, and then they finally got it figured out. But it's something that's not new, and it's something that I just know bits about. I know it's sickening, but I don't know the whole like red. I know there's a lot of red tape, but I'm not as detailed into it as others are. But
yeah,
it definitely does stink. I get it, but it would be cool if that wasn't an issue. And
right.
hopefully one day, I know we're closer than we were in the past. So I think the future looks bright, and hopefully we get that figured out.
Yeah, because we had Neil Palace on a couple of weeks back. He tried to explain it. We've had Chief Warren Lyons on, and he's gone through his ways of explaining things, and is going through with the UN and everything else in order to get recognized like it should be. Like it's just simple.
And that's it. And the older generation, and I'm sure I'm going to join that fight when my time's done playing. But for now, they just want us worried about playing lacrosse, showing up in the best shape we can, and we're behind whatever decision they make 100%.
Yeah. Gosh, by that point, I hope this is resolved already. That you don't have to waste that kind of energy on that and actually concentrate on teaching the game to the younger guys. Now, you played with Arena Lacrosse as well. I'm the media guy for that.
Okay. Yeah.
I love the league. I love going to it. I love watching it. I think it's a league that's very important in teaching a younger player how to become professional, not just on the floor, but how to conduct himself off the floor, in the dressing rooms, with the media and everything else, and all the dry runs that come along with it. How was your experience there with Paul and the league, and what was your take on it?
I thought it was a great league. I remember so when they first came up with the ALL, this is back when the NLL had 8 or 9 teams. So there was a lot of practice roster guys, bubble guys on all the teams. Again, going back to the amount of talent, one that sticks out for me was Zach Higgins, who was I believe their team won that inaugural year, that first year with the Oshawa Outlaws. And he was a guy that who was, again, I kind of admired, who was a guy that was a backup with the Swarm, was a starter. Unfortunately, whatever happened, was released, cut his teeth in the ALL. I remember one game, one weekend, I remember watching him. I think he was backing up with Calgary, ended up getting in the game that Saturday night, and we had to play him Sunday, and we're like, oh, he's not going to be there. And then sure enough, there he is the next day, ready to go, and we ended up getting beat. He played just as well as he did the night before, and now we look at him, he's starting for Philadelphia, right? But no, just again, going back to that league, the NLL rules, and the biggest adjustment was the plastic sticks, smaller pads, bigger net. So I was fortunate enough to be a practice roster goalie with Georgia Swarm at the time, and I was using the equipment they gave me. And again, just having those extra couple years of playing, getting used to the speed of the game, getting used to those nets, getting used to the plastic stick, because
Yep.
it is tough for a goalie just to jump right in out of junior, coming from a 4x6 and wood stick and pads out to here or whatever to smaller pads, smaller stick, bigger net. So it was a good learning experience for me. And again, like you said, like the professionalism of looking presentable, talking to the media, and also getting familiar with other guys, because it wasn't, each team wasn't just like what do you call it, like home based or community based. Like we had guys from all over on each team, so getting used to playing with other guys and stuff like that, it was a lot of fun and great experience, and I'm thankful for that experience.
Right. Plus, you're talking about the practice roster guys, but guys didn't have to hang up their sticks come fall after summer ball if they didn't make it all squad. They could
Yeah.
actually keep playing. I think they've put something like 25 or 30 guys into the NLL now.
Hmm.
That's remarkable. And
Yeah.
they're all game shape ready because they were playing all through the year, right?
Yeah, and anyone that can, like, I'd recommend keep playing it. And that was actually a conversation I had with Georgia, because I remember they offered me to like go to games just as a third string goalie, right? And you see that now with guys that their third strings come with them on the road, just take shots and stuff. But I asked if I could just stay home and play, like actually get minutes and play, like, and they were fortunately they were fortunate enough, and like they gave me the okay, yeah, go for it. And like honestly, that was huge for my development, and I recommend anybody to keep a stick in their hands and go try it out. Like, it doesn't
Right.
hurt.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
you agree that it's better for younger players not even to be on the team just so they can get floor time.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know I get it. Like when we bring practice players on, like stuff happens. I think one year our home opener, right? We are gonna play Sask, and Cody Jameson takes warm-ups and unfortunately rolls his ankle and he's out. And so we had to scramble, and the guy that thought he was getting scratched, nope, you're in, buddy. So I get why we bring the extra players, but I know it's huge. It's huge for the goalie development. Um, I would recommend the younger guys to, like, if their team allows them to, stay home and get game experience. And yeah, you might have to cut your teeth in it for a year or 2 or 3 years, but uh, you'll be thankful that you did.
There's a
Well, you
mentality
also,
difference, right?
sorry, Frank, go ahead.
It's okay. I'm just gonna say there's a mentality difference that you have to learn between being a player and a pro player. Like
Hmm.
it's the giant mind thing that you have to adjust to, right?
Exactly. You got a lot more eyeballs on you, and especially today with the social media aspect and things like that, word travels fast, and coaches talk to one another, GMs talk to one another, whether your work ethic or stuff off the floor or what have you. And I think again, like going back to like growing up fast, when you jumped over to the NLL, you gotta grow up fast, because your responsibility to get on that plane when wherever you're supposed to go. Here's your meal money. You got a hotel room. Don't make the team look bad. All that stuff. So I think playing in the ALL was a good, again, baby steps, getting your feet wet, and then finally moving on to a professional team. You were kind of ready or set in the ways.
You got to deal with people who are scouting you as well, right?
Yeah,
The higher the
exactly.
level, the
You
more
can't.
you have to adjust your game.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, like you could, especially today with the games being on YouTube, and scouts, GMs are watching, and you got to put your best foot forward every time you're out there, because there's a bunch of guys trying to do the same thing, trying to get to that next level as you are, and you don't want anything dumb or a dumb play or certain action or whatever um, cut you off short.
Right. You
Sure.
don't want to be predictable either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you talked about getting drafted by Georgia. My question usually to most guys is your first training camp, was it what you expected?
Um, yes, and as that is again kind of coming back to a culture shock, but again, just new team, new experience. But I was in awe because at the time Mike Poulin was the starter. They had Brody McDonald was the backup, and just these are guys I've been watching on TV, but just getting to pick their brain, learn from them, and seeing how it goes. It was great, and then just getting tore up, getting ripped up with the big, again, first time in the big nets and small sticks, smaller pads, and it was a humbling experience, but gave me a good kind of benchmark where I want to be.
And plus, you're facing shots from Lyles and Miles.
Miles, Randy. I think Zeddy was there. You had Jordan McIntosh. You had Shane Jackson. Oh, all these guys, right? So they could put the ball anywhere. Jordan Hall, and to them it was nothing. But again, a lot of growing up to do.
Right, and that was during their championship run too. So, this was the peak of that team, and also having Eddie and Sean as your coaches, they're great, man. I've had them both on here, and fantastic guys. Really understand the younger player too.
Yeah, they're great. They're great, and especially again, like just learning as we go. Like being a younger guy, I never had a credit card or nothing, and learning now, like you're checking bags and stuff at the airport. They, without even a blink of an eye, like they took it upon themselves and they helped me. And then same thing. I think I had another buddy, Braden Hill, who's from home here. We happened to be on their same flight, got delayed. Again, just dealing with that stuff. Our flight's delayed. What do we do? Or our flight's canceled. What do we do? And they took us under their wing and drove us like get to Georgia, and they drive us to the hotel with them, and we're just talking and you guys hungry and feeding us and things like that. Again, they're really approachable and learned a lot from those guys.
Right. Now you get on the move and you get on over to Rochester. In a weird time because this is just after their three-peat and they're into the rebuild, and here comes the move. You finally get your chance. You get into 15 games in that year, but you finally. What was told to you guys that we're moving to Halifax? A lot of guys probably wouldn't be able to find Halifax, but you're going where? Where are we going?
So that was a whirlwind, and honestly, truthfully, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I was happy to be in the league again, going from being a practice roster guy to getting the spot on the active roster and being the backup. I was just at the time just happy to be there, but it was an exciting time, and that was something. Being a younger guy, that again, I just stayed in my lane. Heard obviously rumblings, and you would hear the older guys talk about certain things and what have you, but just at the time, again, just staying in my lane, trying to learn as much as I could and see what I could do there.
But it also helps you're playing for Mr. Stiers,
Yeah,
and another reservation guy who's looking out for you guys as well to make sure you're getting opportunity, and it never hurts to have somebody of influence.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember, like, speaking of Kurt, like how, like, again, it was kind of like a whirlwind. I remember I went to actually a New England's tryout that one weekend. Come Monday morning, got the call from Rich Lisk. Unfortunately, gonna have to let you go. All right, hung up the phone. Was not devastated, but all right, like what's next? And then I went to the arena and was working out some frustration, just exercising upstairs. And obviously, it's Kurt's arena, so sitting there stretching out on the floor and see Kurt kind of walk over and said, "You want to come play for us?" And I was like, "Heck yeah. See you next weekend." And then that's the way we went.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now COVID hits and you guys are moving. So you go into a new area, a new province, a new team, and a new fan base, and you have no games because we're in lockdown. But you guys were able to pull it off, so when you got out of it, you guys still had 10, 12,000 people at your games. That's a testament to you guys and the organization in its own right.
Yeah, and I think that carried forward from the season prior. So obviously in Rochester, the season didn't go as planned, but we were fortunate enough to build some momentum to end the season, and keeping that young core group that we have now in Halifax, we were able to make some noise that first season. And obviously it's a lot easier to draw a crowd when you're winning. So we were fortunate enough to go, I think, 6-0 to start the season, the inaugural season in Halifax. And then kind of had a little bit of a bump in the road, but we gained a good following, and that's a sports town, man. Like it was awesome to be a part of, and those fans are great, and kudos to them. They're waiting for us when we came back, like you said, and to go through the COVID stuff and to have like 25% in the building, 50% gradually to get up to where we are now.
You were having home games in Hamilton, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That was even crazier in an empty building in Hamilton.
Yep. And then like still, like, again, being social media today, like still getting shout outed or seeing the Twitter or Instagram or what have you, seeing all the interactions, and people saying that they're watching, that they're supporting us still. It goes a long way. Like they weren't there, but we could feel them, and it's been awesome ever since.
They're
Right.
hungry for pro sports there.
Yes.
Yeah, very hungry. Now you're playing for Micah Kersey. You had the chance to play for Billy D, and now Andrew Suter, and we've had a Kersey, we've had Suter on the show as well. But talk about having them as coaches. Most interesting, I would think, would be Billy D. I would think that there's a lot of vibrance in his speeches.
Billy D was the man. I miss him. It was great having him as a coach, and he's a real fiery guy, and he gets it. And he, like, to describe him, he was a player's coach, and I know sometimes the players had to hold him back, like he wanted to jump on the floor, but he got it. He was really good, and especially having that connection with our core already, having been a teammate for those years in Rochester, is a good transition and good looking out. And again, just kind of building our confidence in his system, and then moving on to Andrew Suter. Same thing again, just being a player's coach and coming in, he didn't rock the boat too much. Like those are like his plans, obviously. But as the season went on, like we know who he is. Like whatever he has to say, like we take his word for it. Like he's the ultimate leader, ultimate competitor, and I can tell you right now, no one was gonna say anything to him that might tick him off in fear of a right hook or something like that. But no, he's great, and again, both these guys are approachable.
Well, you have a great core of players in Halifax. You have a team. We were talking, I guess, last season with Mike Kersey and about make it or break it with this lineup. But really, I don't think there's any reason to separate this lineup. It's so good. It's just about getting all the pieces to fall at the right time.
Exactly. And I know this season wasn't the way we want to end it and stuff like that. I still have faith in this group, and I love my teammates. And unfortunately, that last game in Albany, the way it went, and I remember talking to some people, like it could have been the reverse, could have been, I don't know, just it's sports. It happens, and it sucks, and it sucks that it happened at that time. Yeah.
Even itself, the whole game was a bizarre game.
Yeah, it was bizarre, and same thing. Like, I get like people were getting ticked off at the offense, only 3 goals, but the way I looked at it after, like heck, I could have been the one that gave up 20 or 25 or something, and they were the ones trying to get 15, 16, and we still lose. So, like you said, getting everything to fall into the right place, and I think we're almost there, and we want nothing more than a home game in Halifax for sure. Like everyone keeps talking about it, and our home games are unreal. I can't imagine what a playoff game would be like, and that's the ultimate
goal.
So
close this year, so close. So I think that's the next level, anyways. It's coming. So, I see that probably this season. The core group's going to be together, and they're that much more mature, much more used to one another. And if everybody stays healthy, I think that's a heck of a team that you got.
Exactly. And like you said, the core and like the players we have, and I know this lights a fire under us, and not that we took it for granted or anything like that, but it's professional sports. It happens. Sask went on, Rochester went on their run with all those years. Sask went on their run. Buffalo's on their run now. Like, we just got to stick with it.
That is Buffalo is known as the Toronto Kryptonite.
Yeah. I think they're everybody's kryptonite.
No matter how good they play,
I think they're everybody's kryptonite right now.
They just can't get past the band. Haven't won a playoff game there since 2012. That's a long lineage now. So, but anyways, I want to talk a little bit just before we're done about the state of the union of the NLL as a player. Like I said, we've had Reed Ryan hold on for the Players Association, and there's a great relationship now between the players and the owners, so we don't have to worry about a strike looming on the horizon every second year, things like that. Is full-time on the horizon, do you think?
I hope so, and I know they were talking about that in our, like, when I was younger, saying that when on my current age that we might have been, but no, I think it is, and I don't think that, truthfully, I don't think it'll be anything like millions of dollars like NHL or anything, but I think there is going to come a time where it will be full-time, and guys will have to make the choice of, especially the older guys, of are you staying at home and doing your career and maybe get the fly-in, or you're going to move to a Halifax, a Saskatchewan, Colorado full-time and that's your job, lacrosse. And then when it's over, then like I know there's a lot of questions, but that would be awesome. And I hope the next generation gets to experience that. And um, I know we'd be happy for them if that's all they got to do is live and play lacrosse.
You got to have enough money to live. You have to have
Exactly.
a place to
And that's
live.
why, and I remember, I think one of like our union and like that was a topic of discussion was like, you got a guy that's on his way out and they want him to leave his job, move his family, his kids to a whole nother city, and then only a couple years there, and then he's got to go start over again. So that'll be a tough topic when it comes, but for the younger guys, I imagine it'll be a lot of fun for them.
Oh yeah. The other thing that comes to mind though is I hope it doesn't price the fan base out of tickets, because now the selling point is that it's affordable as compared to NHL or NBA,
Yeah,
things like that. You can still get season tickets for your family affordably. Now, if you're going to talk about having 40 games, even at the prices they are now, that's a big commitment on the fan base still. So another logistical thing to look at.
yep, exactly. And that's getting older and learning more about the league and learning more about life in general and being an adult with kids. Like I know it's not cheap, and um, even myself, right? Like I have to say no a lot, and just to just to keep on living here. So hopefully we'll figure it out. But I'm
Right.
hopeful for the league.
Now, I'd be remiss in not talking about the Six Nations Chiefs and, of course, the Mann Cup championship from last year. The team looks great. I was at the game last Monday. You guys look fantastic. You just added Liger onto the lineup. They made the trade and got Eli McLaughlin in there just to bolster things. You have Steve Priolo coming in as well. That team is stacked, even more so, I think, than last year. What's the feeling in the room?
I think the high and the honestly the momentum from last season is carried over. Like that first game, like unfortunately we didn't have an opportunity to have a practice just because of guys' schedules and stuff like that. But it was like we never left. Just stepping foot in that locker room, everybody building the chemistry that we did last year. Like it's just moving forward, and like you said, we're just adding pieces. And I think that obviously that's the ultimate goal is to get to the Man Cup, and it shows that our team is serious, our ownership's serious, and that's the ultimate goal and motivation. And it's I don't want to say expectation, but like hopefully we do a lot of damage.
I think so. I think so. You guys looked so organized in that first game and very calm, very cool. Austin looked terrific with his 7 goals. But the whole team in its own right, everybody had their job to do and did their job. Nobody overextended. Nobody did anything extra. Everybody did what they're supposed to do, which is what winners are made of.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that again, like having great coaches like JT, like John Tavares and Darius Kilgore, and again they treat us like professionals, like men. And um JT's a great coach. Like I don't think I've heard him yell or raise his voice once just talking to everybody. But again, just that professionalism and that maturity of the group and knowing you got to do your job. It's me and Dougie's job to stop the ball. It's our D's guys' job to make make the opposing team take bad shots, and it's like Randy Austin Jammer's job to put the ball in the net. And everyone knows what they got to do and just go out there and do it.
Right, right. And with a solid defense, guys like Tyson Bell out there going to make you pay if you want to come inside. So, everything
Exactly.
comes at a price. But, only giving up 4 goals in that first game, man, you looked awesome. You look like you haven't missed a beat.
It was I'm glad it turned out that. I didn't feel that way in the first period, but yeah, but I got to give a lot of credit to my defense, right? And as the season go on, when we do get like a Priolo, maybe I don't know if he's come back or not, but fingers crossed, Rubish comes back. We got Brad Cree, Tyson Bell. Like it's a lot easier to play goalie when you got those guys in front of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just quickly before we end, the NLL came out with a couple of platforms. One was the Every Child Matters platform, and the other one was with Marvel Comics, to try and explain the Indigenous game. Do you think that this is enough? Should they be doing more, or is this a good springboard to get things rolling for future?
Well, I personally I think this is a good springboard to get things rolling, right? Like too many times of time and again, like when stuff's too much in your face that you kind of lose interest and you don't want to seem forced, right? But again, just given the opportunity and the exposure of the learning material and expressing like the native origins of the game to people, and hey, this is what it's about, and letting them figure it out themselves is a great way. Again, I don't think they need to be shoving it down people's throats, but what they're doing right now, like you said, with Marvel Comics, every child matters. It's a good thing that our league's doing, and I appreciate it so much.
Right, and I like it that every team is doing an Indigenous night
Mhm.
now too, just to have it on there in different points, so that it's always there. It's not in the forefront. It's not brash, but
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everybody is talking about it. And now it's more on non-Indigenous lips to
yeah,
talk about it a little bit.
exactly. It's a great thing, and I think it's fine, and I think they're doing a great job right now.
Cool. Now, lacrosse goes to the Olympics, and I want to get your opinion quickly on sixes.
Sixes.
Yeah,
This might be a weird take, but I love it. I thought it was a great game. It sucked. Sometimes it sucks as being the goalie. A lot of goals, a lot of brews, a lot of shots coming at you. But it's kind of like one of those things, like where maybe a sport seems boring to watch, but when you're actually out there playing it, right, like it's awesome. Whether that be sometimes for people, golf, baseball's boring to watch on TV, but when you play it, it's with the whole different story. So I enjoyed it, and I get why they're doing it in terms of having developing countries and stuff like that, like be able to have more of a level playing field, and I think that was great. And
right.
it showed like Japan beat us. Japan beat us, and they took it so seriously, and kudos to them, and like rightfully so, and it gave them an opportunity to advance their game. So
Right.
it's great living field, and next time hopefully we have a better outcome. But no, I loved it, and I think definitely gets you in shape pretty fast.
I guess so. Yeah. I also figure that, anything to get another 280 countries to watch the game. We can always
Exactly.
beat tradition after we have them watching.
Exactly.
Well, to
Now
be in
you now you're going to be heading out coaching. How did you get into coaching?
Um, Again, kind of just like a rite of passage around here. You have a little one, they start playing lacrosse. It's your turn to get out there. So, I was fortunate, like again, like Randy's dad was our coach, and now my little guy's playing. So me and actually Randy is the other coach. He's the other coach. His daughter's playing with our paperweight team, and we got our last tryout in a few minutes here at 5 o'clock. But that's where I'm heading. But no, it's just our term, and honestly, this is I can imagine he's the same way. Something we were looking forward to since we've had kids. So it's going to be
Right.
a lot of fun.
I have one last question for you. Any advice for goalies getting started?
Watch a lot of film in the sense of watch a game, watch the goalies make the easy saves. Like it's easy for especially goalies to watch the highlights, the desperation saves, the one stick saves, but no, actually watch a game, watch Rosie's angles, watch Dylan Ward the way he steps out and challenges shooters, watch Matty Vince and Del Bianco watch his outlet, stuff like that. Like pick different parts of the game that work for you. I think that's a great tool to learn, especially there's no excuse now with YouTube. Kids are on their phone anyways, and I know for me that was hard when to get shots, you might as well watch and learn something. So that's my advice to young guys.
Right. Also, a short-term memory never hurts as a goalie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, I really want to thank you. The hour went by just like this. I wish you all the best in the summer. I plan on being up at ILA for a number of games. Look forward to talking to you in person. And again, when NLL season starts, I wish you all the best with Halifax. And hopefully this is the year.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Warren, thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Warren. And for Gary Groob and Warren Hill, I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching NLL Lacrosse Talk, seen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. The show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Lacrosse Talk, news, entertainment, and other sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it here, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget Candid Frank Stanisci, 10:30 on YouTube. Ciao for now.